night, and my name is Peter Vexelman, and I have my partner Julie on the other side. Julie, how are you?
Oh, doing awesome, doing awesome. I'm so excited to be here tonight for our Tuesday night webinar. Really excited about the topic this evening. Actually, last week we started putting a survey out at the end, wanting to know kind of what everybody wants to hear about. So we took your answers from last week's poll, and we're actually doing this today. So again, at the end of tonight, there'll be another survey, and we would love to hear, answer those questions. It really helps us. Helps us know what you guys want, obviously. And I'll go ahead and get started because I haven't been on a Tuesday night webinar in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited. As many of you know, I certainly love to hear where you guys are from. We got Brad Woods in Marietta. Brad, good to have you.
Yeah, guys, let everybody know where you're dialing in from. For those of you that have been on these recently, I have a personal goal. We want to get like every state one day represented. It seems like we have contingencies in different parts of the country, but we want to really get every state represented here. What's up, Steve and PA? We got Christine in Beaufort. We got Jim in Georgia. We got Cleveland, Ohio, my neck of the woods represented. Connecticut with Keith. Man, they're flashing on, Julie, faster than I could keep up with it.
Well, we got Keith from Bend, Oregon. Dale from St. Augustine, Florida. Love St. Augustine. Isn't that the oldest city in America?
It is, and I think it's also the most married in city in America.
Really?
And you and I have done plenty of business in Jacksonville, and we used to just camp out in St. Augustine.
Yeah, actually, the biggest wholesale deal I was ever involved in was in St. Augustine. Remember that property?
Kind of. Wasn't that on the water or no?
Yeah, it was on the water, and it was an $83,000 profit margin on a wholesale deal, which is exactly what we're talking about tonight. We got Barbara from Cumming, Rio from San Francisco, Clifton, Virginia, Sarasota, Brook Park, Ohio, Urbano from Southern California, Lowell from Palm Springs, California, Ottawa, Ontario, I'm assuming, John from Rochester, New York, David from Washington, D.C., Michael from Dallas, Texas, Joanne, Southwest Florida, howdy to you, Erica, Cumming, Georgia. Erica, you are from the city that I was born and raised. And I have made it so far in life that I am literally the county up. I have not been one of those people that's moved all over America or moved, from different countries. I thought I really did something big by moving a county up in my life. So we got Vasu from Alpharetta, Abe from Utah. So glad to have you. Yeah, I'm in Dawsonville, Georgia today. I don't know.
Office?
I'm at the office, yeah. I stay, now that we got our new office, I don't even want to leave. I was with the whole COVID thing and having to work from home. I like being here, so that's where I am.
I remember one time, Julie, I was doing this by myself, and for some reason I couldn't get my computer to either come on or something. So Chelsea, she's like, let me show you how to do it off the cell phone, right? And so I literally at the end of that, in the beginning of that webinar, changed the whole topic for the night. What I did is with my cell phone, I went around our office and just kind of did a virtual tour. One day you'll have to, I know you're still setting it up, but you'll have to do a little virtual tour for everyone to see where our home base is now.
Mm-hmm. I certainly. We got Eugene from Chicago, Newport News, Virginia, Ken from Dingsman Ferry. I'm not really sure where that is. Abe from Utah. So again, we really appreciate you guys letting us know where you are as we're getting started. We'll get started here in just a little bit, but super proud that you took the time to be in our live tonight and to learn a little bit more, because tonight's a big night. What Peter and I are going to do tonight is literally share with you a wholesale deal from start to finish. Essentially, how do you find a deal? How do you execute the deal? And everything in the middle. So that's exactly what we're doing. Oh, Ken, Dingsman Ferry is in Pennsylvania. Thank you for clearing that up. I was like, is that Australia? I don't know why it seemed like it all in Australia.
The word ding in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how you make the connection between ding and Australia, but maybe when we're off camera, you could tell me.
Yeah. Sure will.
All right, guys. Well, it's about that time to get started. And you know, for those of you that have been here with Julie and I some of you guys have been here from the beginning, meaning from the beginning of the partner model, from the beginning of our series of webinars. You all know that things change, things fluctuate. Our model has fluctuated. You know, we've always tried to create more and more value, but the one thing that Julie and I have been absolutely tried and true to is these Tuesday night webinars. You know, we feel like, really, I think this is one of the few times where Julie and I literally provide value to both our existing partners and people that want to potentially join our family and are not yet partners. And it's just like, where the worlds intersect. And the one thing I personally found after talking to our partners, you know, whenever I have a chance to chat with them or say hi to them, the one thing I found is the one commonality people have before they get to know us is they follow us. You know, they follow us through these Tuesday night webinars. So even in our planning meetings, sometimes we're like, well, let's try this, or maybe let's do a little bit less of that. This is like always off topic. I mean, we're off the table. We never, ever talk about stopping these Tuesday night webinars. So we appreciate you all being here. And like I said, there's really two types of individuals with us here tonight. Some of y'all are our partners already, okay? You are part of what we call our family. We love it. We do literally, it looks like I have a halo on my head. We literally do treat you all and feel like you guys are our family. I mean, we've been through some incredible times with so many of you guys. And Tuesday nights, for those of you that are already our partners, you know, I always feel like this is just another time for you to reconnect with us. You know, we go way beyond Tuesday nights with our partners in terms of coaching and training and supporting and back office things and lead gen and funding and construction. But this is just another chance for you all to reconnect with us and to stay connected. And you know what? I get it. I've been there. I've done that. You know, when I got started in this business and pretty much figured out how to go from like, I was never a hero, but I went from like a little bit successful to zero. I mean, that's literally what I did. That's how I built this business. I went backwards. But then along the line, I hooked up with a couple guys and they literally became my mentors. And anytime I had a chance to get around my mentors, it was an awesome opportunity for me. So I get it. For those of you all that are our partners, so glad you guys are here. And you know what I'm going to tell you, right? You're going to reset, you're going to recharge, you're going to recommit, and we're going to kick it into next gear tonight, okay? Some of you all are not part of the family. You're not in our partner community. You're not yet our partner, but you're checking us out, right? You may have heard about us through someone, maybe one of our existing partners. Some of y'all may have met us through some kind of social media. But to you, this seems kind of fascinating, at least fascinating enough to check us out tonight or maybe keep on coming back, okay? And we're glad you guys are here also. You know, Julie and I, we've been doing this partnering, and before partnering, we've been doing real estate forever. And the reason we like to be ourselves part of these Tuesday night events is because bottom line is we have nothing to hide. Okay. I mean, this is it. This is who we are. Here's our names, our faces. We flash our cell phone numbers all over the place. I mean, we want you to feel really, really comfortable that if you do decide to go towards partnering with us, we want you to feel comfortable that you're doing this with somebody that knows what they're doing. You know, 20-some year history. Our team has been together for many, many years, thousands of deals behind us. And, you know, some time ago, we bought in that even at our level, when we were already successful when we bought into this, but even at our level, we bought in some time back that we actually are stronger, better, with partners than without partners. And so we went from being a single focused real estate investment company, kind of like see deal, do deal, to a partner driven real estate investment company. And now it's pretty safe to say that almost all of our deals come as a result of our partners. And so for those of you that are not yet our partners, some of you may be thinking, well, why are they doing this? What's in it for them? We want to do deals. As a matter of fact, I wish I would have saved it, Julie, but this morning, Julie shot a text kind of like to everybody in our Atlanta offices here. And the text said something like this. She shot it to the partner-driven team, the support staff, and the back office staff. And she said it was very simple. Hey, let's get more deals. Let's get even more deals for our partners. I know we're having record-setting months, but her text was very simple. The mission to the team here internally was very simple. Let's get them even more deals. Let's give an opportunity to close more things. And so what's in it for us? By helping you all, we help ourselves. So if anytime tonight you're like, man, I got to do this thing. I'd rather do this with a partner. It makes sense to do it with a partner than without a partner. If any of you all are like ready to take the leap, okay, then you simply need to go to www.partnerdriven.com. And there you could find a lot more about our model and learn who we do, what we do, and who we do it with, and see tons of testimonials, our existing partners, and all that. But I'm going to do something special tonight. For those of you that stay to the very end, this happens every time, by the way. Some people, like, this becomes the final focal point to like saying, I'm in, I'm all in. So for those of you that stay all the way through the end tonight, at the end, I'm actually going to give you a private phone number that you could call if you're ready to get started tonight. And with us, getting started tonight means very simple. Tomorrow morning, we're going to work. Simple as that. You get started tonight, you get committed to your future as early as tomorrow morning. We're starting with you, and we're going to get you onboarded ASAP. We're going to start showing you how to find amazing off-market deals, and we're going to go and rock and roll and do things together. So you got to stay at the end to get that private phone number. All right, guys. So what's the topic of tonight? You know, Julie and I have had like different themes as we do this. Like sometimes we tell stories. I mean, literally stories about us, stories about our partners. You know, sometimes we talk about like current events. You know, a couple weeks ago, I gave like literally what we called a State of the Union. Like what is currently going on in the real estate market based upon the pandemic we're in, and how do you correctly respond to it, okay? Tonight, we're gonna do something that's money. I think all of them are kind of money makers from different perspective, but today it is like, it is on. I mean, if you're in this thing right now and you're like, what? Like, what? Can they tell me something that's gonna make me money like immediately? Yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about today. Today, we're gonna talk about how we have successfully wholesaled thousands of real estate deals. But we're going to really get into the nitty gritty. We're going to get into like the meat of it. And we're going to talk to you about it in current times, not you know, because like there's things we did maybe five or 8 years ago that aren't quite working as well with wholesaling. There's things that maybe we didn't even know about 6 years ago, or ways of doing like maybe marketing and stuff like that, that now it's like all in. So we're going to talk to you. We're going to dissect the art of wholesaling. Okay. We're going to walk you through anatomy of what it takes to do that. We're going to do it in real time, and we're going to give you as much value as possible, because truly, whether you do this with us or you do this by yourself, we want you to look back at tonight and say, wow, now I get it. Now I understand how to do it, okay? So first of all, Julie made not a little, but she made kind of a side comment to me today. She's like, Pete, sometimes like we could be like a little bit too advanced for some people that join us, or maybe look at these in a pre-recorded format. I never really think about it, you know, kind of being in it as long as I have, certain things become second nature. So if you all don't mind, let me just take a minute or two, and I want to just kind of explain what wholesaling is. Like, to me, it's like impossible to think that somebody doesn't understand that. Well, not in a bad way, but you know, again, just because I've been in it for so long. But the art of by the way, let me prelude that by even saying something this. In my opinion, there has never been a better time to be involved in the art of wholesaling than right now. Okay. And I could literally spend the next hour talking to you why, okay? But I'm not going to do that, but I will give you a couple key factors. Wholesaling comes from motivated sellers, right? Now, you need motivated sellers in many different respects, but let's just kind of walk through the why wholesaling is so tremendous right now. There's more pent-up demand to sell than I've seen in like forever. As long as I've been there, obviously tied into the COVID virus, people need to create liquidity, some to stay afloat, some to wait for their jobs to come back, some for their businesses to come back. And people are selling things right now that could generate them decent amount of money. Well, guess what? Real estate is like probably at the top of most people's households. Not many people own more expensive things than their houses. Okay. So, and usually second houses is what we're after. So the pent-up demand is incredible. But the other side, and you'll see why I mean the other side here in a minute, there's more demand for deals than we've seen. Now that's kind of a weird thing to say. Like, so Pete, you're telling me the supply is amazing and the demand is, yeah, this is why this is such a good time. This is why it's such a good time. That just like on this side, there is a huge pent-up demand, huge motivation for many sellers who weren't motivated just like 3 or 4 months ago to sell. There's also plenty of people out there, and make no mistake about it, they have plenty of money, plenty of cash, and they're coming out of the woodworks. And not only are they coming out of the woodworks, but they're paying unbelievable amount of money. For those of you that have been with us here for the last 10, 15 minutes, we were talking about Florida, and Julie's like, yeah, we did that wholesale deal for $83,000. And what I thought you're going to say is the current wholesale deal that we're doing for $100,000. And for those that know wholesaling, no, that's like, what? Like, you mean you bought it and you sat on it and you fixed it and then you sold it? No, we literally wholesaled it at the closing table, 86,000 on that and 100,000 here coming up.
Peter, I wanted to bring up something that you said, okay? And I'm not contradicting, but you said the supply is high and the demand is high. Here's my opinion of this. The supply of investment properties on the market is very low, right? However, the supply of actual sellers that are in a distressed situation are high. What's missing out there, and it's whether you want to take the opportunity or not, is that are you willing to go out there and find these deals? Not go find deals from other people. What we're talking about tonight is showing you how to find deals direct to sellers so you can have these profits like, you know, Peter and I were talking about. And by the way, those numbers, those are not average. I mean, obviously, right? They're not average. But I do want to throw up a poll tonight. You should see it on your screen. We're going to ask you a question. Because guys, you know, this business literally, you know, this concept changed my life. There's 2 things that I want y'all to check on this poll. Have you ever completed a wholesale deal? Number 1, and we're just curious, what's the most profit you've ever made on a wholesale deal? So if you guys will go ahead, it should have popped up on your screen. If you'll answer those questions, we just would love to hear, you know, what those answers are. So go ahead and complete that poll now.
Yes. All right, so let's talk about just a little bit, just what is a wholesale deal? And I'm going to try to dumb it down or just kind of break it to the most basic elements possible. But the wholesale deal is exactly what Julie and I have been talking here for the last 5 minutes. It is identifying a good deal, and a good deal usually means it has equity, it has a profit margin in, and usually you want to have at least 25+% profit margin on a wholesale deal, okay? Anything, you know, you'd love to have 50%, 30, you know, 60% profit margins, but a minimum about 75% profit margin. That means that if a house is worth 100,000, you want to be all in between purchase and rehab for about 75,000 or better. Obviously, that's like already pushing the limit. So it's identifying those deals, and then before going to your own closing, basically before having to put your own money into buying this property, it is identifying another almost always investor that's in a market to buy the properties and getting them assigning your contract, basically signing your contract over to them, but putting a fee in there for the work you did. So like maybe finding a house for 75,000 and marketing up to 80 or 83,000. And so it's the buyer that actually shows up at the closing table. The buyer pays the 83,000, the 75 goes to the seller, and the 8 goes to you. I mean, in essence, that is what wholesaling all is about. And there's a lot, you know, we just gave you the incredible environments that's happening right now that's creating more opportunities at the wholesale level than we've ever seen, okay? But there's also some other positives about doing wholesale deals. You know, I think it's the ultimate entry point into this business. Now, 22 years into this business, here I am still talking about it, right? So the great thing is it's a great entry point. It's a great middle point. It's a great ending point. It's a great point all around, okay? But especially for beginners, wholesaling, I think, is a great way to get in. A couple reasons. One, it's fairly basic, okay? It's a fairly basic strategy. You know, identify a property, mark it up, and move it to another investor. Number two, it's the most forgiving one, okay? I mean, at worst, if you made a mistake, you back out during your due diligence period, and no harm, no foul. Next, it's the one that requires the least amount of money. If you know how to do it the right way, if you know how to structure it the right way. Next, it's one of the quickest ones to do, right? An average wholesale deal could literally, we could start one tonight, identify a property next week or two, move it to another seller in the next couple of weeks, and then within, you know, next couple of weeks after that, be closed off, signed, sealed, and delivered. So it pays out to us as investors the quickest. But having said that, what we want to do now is we want to start dissecting this thing. But I'll be honest with you, we want to dissect it. But remember, we're here because we feel like our model works. We know our model works, and we want more of you to do it with us. So I'm gonna kind of walk through the art of wholesaling. But Julie is gonna pinpoint some things that are like, hey, let's wholesale together, and here's why you want to do it. Okay, so the first thing is, when it comes to wholesaling, you have to learn how to. Well, first of all, you got to. You know, I just explained to you the basics of this whole thing, but the reality is you still got to know what you're doing, right? Wholesaling, yes, you can get in there. And by the way, let me just tell you what I mean by this. I know people that have been trying to wholesale for almost as long as I've been in the business. And remember, I'm like 2 decades into it. And I could honestly tell you, I know people that have been trying to do this thing for like years on end, and still not get all the parts, not get all the systems, not get all the paperwork, not get all the back office, not get it all aligned. And guess what? Real estate is one of those businesses, they truly do have to align. You may be able to, by accident, walk into a deal. You may be able to, by accident, move something in the back end to another investor. But truly, 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 you have to learn how to do this thing. And you have to do it at the highest levels possible. Like I said, I don't think anybody's listening to us tonight hoping to do one deal and that's it. If that's your only goal in real estate, I'm going to shortcut this thing for you. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. For what it takes to just get one deal done, and trust me, we've done thousands of them. But I could tell you, if your only goal is, man, I just got to do one deal and I just want to make my $5,000 or $10,000 and I want to go to Hawaii, there's better and easier ways to do it.
Well, Peter, you and I both know you do one deal, you get the bug, and there's no way you would only want to do one deal. At least that's how it was for me, because just the fun of doing it, you know what I mean, is worth it, and the money, obviously. No question about it. You want to, and so because of what Julie said is true, because also what I've said is so true. You got to understand what it is that you're doing. You cannot just build this business off the cuff. You cannot just build this business like, let me trial and error this thing. And let me just kind of experiment with it. And let me just hope for the best and let's see what happens. So there's a couple ways to learn. Okay. So I'm going to lay out kind of how I learned. And then I want Julia to lay out how you could get this understanding that I was just talking about, which by the way is critical. Nobody lucked their way through real estate. So there's 2 traditional ways that people learn real estate. One is to do the way I did it, which is like, hey, look at me. I'm unbelievable. I'm incredible. I don't need this thing. So I'll just learn as I go. So let me give you kind of the short version of that. First 6 months, I pretty much made myself homeless. And like when I say homeless, I didn't like start out with like zero either. I didn't start out with like 3,000 in my checking account. I started out in pretty decent condition. I brought about $500,000 from my previous business to this business. And in 6 months, because I wanted to learn it myself, I wanted to literally learn as I go, I lost everything and literally set myself back 3 years. It took me 3 years to get to really to zero. The second way, conventional way to learn it, is you can go down the seminar, the webinar route.
Okay. Now you could do that. A couple things to know about it. It's going to cost you pretty big money because there's really no one all-encompassing seminar, right? You know, you could learn a little bit here, you can go there. So if you're going to like learn like you are at a college or university level, it's going to, you better be willing to invest quite a bit of money, potentially get some wrong information, because I'll be honest with you, and you all know this, there's some fake gurus out there teaching this stuff, right? And it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time because, you know, at this point, 22 years in the business, I realized you can't learn this over like one weekend. You can't learn this thing like by just going to one 8-hour seminar and get it all. So if you got pretty decent money and you're willing to take quite a bit of time, oh, and by the way, this is time usually away from your family. Like, it's, you know, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be chasing these webinars and seminars and all that kind of stuff. So the conventional way is do it yourself, disaster, don't recommend anyone do it, or be willing to put some bucks into conventional education. But there you have to have those bucks and you have to have, you know, the real actual time to go out there and do it. Oh, and one other issue with that conventional way, it'll never be deal specific. It'll be general information, but it'll never be like the information you need about the deal that the first deal you're going to be working on. So now I'm going to have Julie talk about the partner-driven way of teaching people how to be successful in this business, but really specifically at this wholesaling model.
And I'm definitely going to go over that, and I'm going to talk about partner-driven. But hey, if everybody wants to, raise your hand. Would y'all like me to show you how we find motivated sellers? Who would like to know that? Raise your hand in the chat there. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Because listen, the whole deal is that if you do not find motivated sellers, then how are you finding your deals? Like, here's wholesaling explained to you in a very simple term, okay? So let's say you know a person that wants to buy a 1990 Ford truck, right? And he's willing to pay $2,000. You know you got somebody that wants to go buy that and you want to make money off of that. What do? You go find someone selling a 1990 Ford truck, right? And if you bought this for $1,500 and y'all all met up there, he would give you $500 for putting the deal together. That's very simply, right? So in this scenario, what I'm showing you is the seller of the property. How do you find that? Well, by the way, at Partner Driven, this is something I actually specialize in. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but we all have like things that we're great at in life. And one of mine is I actually love dealing with sellers. I love meeting them at their house, helping them to solve issues, hearing their stories. Because let me tell you, if you want to be in this business, to me, you really need to kind of have a little bit of a love for people, because, you know, it's partly helping people out. People get in bad situations and they need to sell their house, okay? So back in the day, what did you do? You drove around looking for, let's say, I don't like to call them ugly houses. Then maybe they need work, right? Or they're not as desirable. Maybe you'd knock on the door and talk to somebody. Well, you could still do that, right? You could still go to the courthouse and pull up records, because there's records at the courthouse, Peter, that, you know, are public information. People, you know, own properties that they don't live in. People may be behind on their taxes. People may be facing foreclosure, right? You want to get to these people essentially and, you know, find a way to communicate with them so that you could make them an offer for their property. Okay. Now, one thing I would like to do tonight is show you how I would take literally what would take me days to accomplish. I can show you guys in about maybe a minute, 45 seconds. Would anybody like for me to show you that? Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a city in America, right? Because I'm not going to pick my town because, well, believe it or not, I've pulled every lead there is here. I'm already working them. Because not only do, you know, Peter and I work with individuals just like you across America, help you in your real estate journey, but heck, the real estate journey is my favorite thing to do. I'm never going to stop doing deals. right? So let me go ahead and show you. I'm going to show you this piece of software that we use called Deal Driven. Okay, so I'm already logged into my account. We don't have time tonight to go over a bunch of details, okay? But I'm going to show you how impressive this is. So remember the idea, and you could still do this, guys. You don't have to have this software to do deals, okay? I want to make that clear. I just think you might as well take a route that's a little bit easier because, in my opinion, time is money. And I'm assuming if you're on this and you're wanting to get in real estate, you probably have another job, and time is your most valuable thing in life, right? So let me reset my search here. I'm going to pick a city let me think. Where could we go? Where could we go? By the way, I'm in Georgia, and I'm going to show you how I can find motivated sellers in another place in America. Okay. So let's see where we're going to go today. All right. All right, Justin. Well, Justin, you're the one that jumped out there. So let's just go to Chicago, like he said. Which, by the way, Chicago's an awesome market right now. And I mean an awesome market. All right. So I've picked my area, and I'm in my lead search here. And I am looking at a search radius of the city center of Chicago. Okay. Now, mind you, we've not even gotten into the making money part, but you got to know where the deals are or the potential deals are. Okay. So I'm going to take a circle around that. You could draw an area, but for this, we're just going to keep going along here. Okay. I'm going to select a property type. I want you all in the chat to think about this for me. Do you see all of these criteria here? Do you know that I could pull all these motivated sellers in Chicago? Let's think, Peter. What would make a super motivated seller? Maybe they're likely vacant, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
What about maybe they're non-owner occupied?
Mm-hmm.
So somebody literally owns a property that they don't live in. Let's say the owner doesn't live in Illinois. Okay. But I want them to have all of these criteria. I want them to be vacant, the owner lives out of state, and it's not owner occupied. And I know that's kind of a redundant statement because of the way tax records work. You want to put all of these in here. I also want them to have a recent mail delivery change. So what does that mean? We get a feed from the post office that literally says someone has requested a change of address. Okay. Now I'm going for a super modified list here, but you could, take this out, right? And we'll leave that out, but I'm just showing you the options. So let's go take a look. Now, Peter, explain equity to people that don't know and why it's important to have equity.
Well, really, equity is what makes a deal, right? So equity is usually calculated by what a person will sell a property for. Sometimes equity is tied into what the mortgage amount is for and what it's worth. So let's say the mortgage in a house is $50,000, right? Let's say it's worth $100,000. Well, that person, he himself has $50,000 of equity. That means potentially, that's a good deal. The bigger the equity, the more of a chance that it's going to be a deal. Doesn't always mean it's going to be a deal. And sometimes people that don't have equity literally, like, believe it or not, bring money to the table. But most of the time, the higher the equity number, the difference between what's owed and what it's worth, the more of a chance that you'll have the ability to create a good deal.
Yes. So for instance, when I'm pulling this search, I want them to have at minimum 40% equity, anywhere between 40 and 100%. Now, also another big key factor is that a lot of us, who here watches HGTV, like Flip This House on the beach, Flip This House, and you're watching people like literally flipping multi-million dollar homes. I'm sorry. That's not the world that most of us live in. Okay. And remember, I'm telling you guys that you're looking for motivated sellers. I'm not saying it does not happen, but do you think somebody that lives in a $2 million house in, let's say, Chicago is going to be motivated as somebody that lives in a $150,000 house in Chicago? What do y'all think? Put that in the chat. Y'all better type some stuff for me now. Okay, so I like to put a maximum here of my blue collar, my middle class working areas. I would say in Chicago, that's about 225,000, okay? I just know the area. I want my last sell date too. Also, think about what motivates somebody to sell. Do you think somebody that purchased a house maybe 6 months ago is going to want to sell today? Probably not. And again, I'm looking for like cream of the crop leads here. So I want to say that I want anybody that has all of these criteria stacked on each other that had bought the house prior to January 1st, 2016. I personally am mostly looking for single family homes as well. Okay. Watch this. Guys, remember what I told you? So all of you could imagine, you could go to the courthouse, sit there because it's public records, right? You could imagine yourself there sitting at the little table with the books and everything and the newspapers. Watch this. Bam. Right there in Chicago. Now, mind you, I'm in North Georgia. I just found a bunch of leads in my area. Okay. So from here, I can skip trace them to find the owner. I can look at pictures from there. So, I mean, I could literally go on and on and on about this technology and how to use it, right? I could go on and on about how to find it. But the essential part of this business is understanding the concept, right? And not spend your time wasting your time on things that don't make money. A lot of us out there get this wonderful idea of wholesaling or the real estate business, and I see so many people just watch videos after videos after videos that never take action. At Partner Driven, which by the way, I am the lead trainer at Partner Driven. Peter thinks he is, but I'm just kidding.
I do not. I promise.
I'm just kidding. My whole goal for anybody that is a partner is to take action every day and for you to do things that are actually going to make you money. If you're not out working with sellers and finding deals, okay, you're not going to make money in this business. And wouldn't it sure be nice to know exactly how to find these motivated sellers? Oh, and by the way, when you do get an appointment to go meet with a seller, wouldn't it be nice to schedule a call with me or one of my coaches before you go? So that you're not.
Julie, talk about that, please. I want, again, I gave a couple examples of traditional ways to learn. Learn by yourself, learn through the gurus. Talk about the partner driven. And by the way, this is very important to both partners and non-partners. Because some of y'all who are partners, you don't even understand you have this. You're not even taking advantage of this. So talk about our philosophy, Julie, here, and what you and the staff here does to help people really understand and navigate their way through deals and structures and wholesaling and all that.
Well, let me, kind of step back. By the way, Peter was my first mentor, right? And one of the reasons why I was able to become successful in this business, do you know what it is? Do you think it was because I'm just super smart, that I went to college, or that I came from this really, successful background, which I, in my life I did. I had wonderful parents. No, it's because I had the ear of somebody that could help me, train me, and to stop me from making mistakes. When we started Partner Driven, our entire goal was to be that for everyone that is with us. So at any time, Monday through Friday, as long as it's not a holiday, for 12 hours a day, myself along with my trained coaches, who, by the way, we're partners first. We take one-on-one calls that you can schedule at any time because we want to be there. So that if you have questions or you just want to bend the ear about an idea, we're there for you. Who else does that? I mean, and we put no limit on how many times you can schedule a call, because if you need help, you need help. And truly, we want you to do deals, because at Partner Driven, when you do deals, I know this is selfish, we make money too. So why in the world we would not want to be there for you? That's why we do live daily training Monday through Friday to go over these same exact topics, which is, you know, basically training from start to end, no hoopla, right? It's all about what can I do today to do more deals, right? And I looked at the poll numbers here. And by the way, you can learn wholesaling from, you could learn this business on your own, like Peter said. You could learn it from other people. All I know is what my heart is, and what I know we set this company up to do is to help people like you, because truly this business changed my life. And according to the poll, 70% of you have never done a deal. Hey, that's okay, right? But if it's not that difficult, right? But it's easy to make mistakes. Does that make sense, guys? So now we've covered, so what we've done is we've now covered kind of, does everybody understand? And you can put in the chat, throw your paws up. Paws, I don't know why I said paws, the hands up.
That's why we do these live, right? So people really understand there's no scripts behind us. There's no writers behind us. But let me piggyback off what you said. We've really covered two functions of wholesaling right now. The function of, you got to know what you're doing. You could try to figure out how to do it yourself, the traditional way, or Julie just spent a little time talking to you all how to do it the partner-driven way, what we will help you do. The second function is you got to know what marketing to use. And this is a very important thing. This is what almost no one understands about marketing. Marketing is an ebb and flow type of part of real estate. What I mean by that is people think, well, yeah, we know, Pete, real estate goes up, it goes down, interest rate goes up, interest rate go down. But what people don't know is that internally, real estate changes. Like literally marketing techniques and strategies change. Do you guys know that, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I would buy hundreds of properties from real estate agents. Do you know today, I do not use any real estate agents to find properties. That marketing strategy does not work anymore. Okay. Do you guys know that not within the last 2 years, there were months I would spend over $100,000 on direct mail. Guess what I spend now? Under $10,000. So my point is this: techniques, strategies, ways of doing things, everything changes in real estate, okay? And one of the most important things that works in today's environment, by the way, that I always knew about it, but I never really approached it, is in today's market, you have to know how to go directly to owners. Got to do it. You have to do it. And the way things are set up, you have to utilize technology to do it. Otherwise, you won't react quickly enough. You won't get the right information. And literally, you'll be the last person to the table, okay? So you need technology in today's marketplace to compete. And you have to you know how to utilize this technology to go directly to owner. And that's what Julie spent the last 10 minutes discussing, that we actually give our partners that technology to utilize the marketing strategies that work. Very important, step number one. But most importantly, how to go to the sources directly to owners utilizing that. So again, if you're a partner and you're on it here tonight, you might be like, what technology? Like, how to use it? Okay, let's get you to the next level. Let us show you how to utilize it. If you're not a partner on here tonight and you're listening to this and you're like, technology? I wasn't really thinking about utilizing technology. Or, well, I was just calling all the real estate agents to like email me these amazing deals. Okay, off track, off track. So that's how we at Partner Driven are able to help our partners. We do provide technology, and we do show you, like, we're ahead of the trends. I mean, I've been doing this so long, I understand what works, what doesn't work, and we show you how to utilize this technology to use the right marketing techniques and strategies. All right, so now you know what you're doing, and now we just showed you how to find deals, right? So what do you do next in a wholesale transaction? Now you have to learn how to move that deal. And almost always you have to move it to a third party, another individual, and almost across the board, as I mentioned before, that third party is another real estate investor, okay? So again, let me teach you how regular people move their deals once they put them under contract, right? Well, regular people is not a good one. It's not as bad as pause, but regular people is not a good way of saying it. It's, let me tell you how traditional wholesalers find their buyers. They put together internal lists, okay? They basically scour the internet. They go to networking events. They go to certain websites. They network. They talk on the phone. And the bottom line is, it's always been said that he who has the biggest list wins in the wholesale side. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time telling you how to build these lists and develop these lists today. You know, I just want to kind of tell you the conventional way, and then Julie's going to show you how we do it at the partner-driven way. So the conventional way is you build these huge lists of investors, or what are known as buyers. You then cultivate relationships with them. You call them, you screen them, you take them out to dinner if they're really, you know, savvy, and if they buy multiple properties, and you build relationships with them. And the goal is to, as you find these deals, the goal ultimately is to match people up correctly with the right person off your investor list with the right property. Now, let me just tell you something. For those of you that are like, oh, well, that's not that hard to do. Well, when Julie and I were doing it that way, we had like a section of our office building just for these individuals, right? Because you need people. Trust me, if you're going to just do it yourself, it's going to be very hard to do it, because you're constantly on the phone. You constantly have to build the relationships. You constantly have to screen them to make sure they're for real. You're constantly, you know, being challenged by the ebb and flows, because guess what? One day they're in, next day they bought a property, and so they're out, you know, but the guy that you thought was out all of a sudden's in. So we literally had a department of people that sat in our offices, and that's all they did. That's all they did day in and day out, is they scoured the internet. They went to networking events. They built relationships. Guess what? Julie and I had to pay them commissions. We had to have offices for them. And it was quite an undertaking, but a profitable one, because, you know, it had to be done, but it was a fairly tedious way of doing it, right? Well, although we still encourage people to develop internal lists, because it's just a smart thing to do, there's actually one list that exists out there that is bigger than any list that anyone has ever created or will ever create. It's got 3 letters to it. And guess what? Julie is going to talk about that list and how at Partner Driven you'll have access to it.
Yes, I will. So this list is what is called the MLS, which is Multiple Listing Services. Multiple listing services is utilized by realtors across the nation, or real estate agents, right? And there's a question here that says, do you have to pay a commission to the realtor? Absolutely you do. It's a lot of work to deal with the buyer and bring everybody to the closing table. But understand this. So imagine tomorrow we get off of this call, okay? And you go find a motivated seller and you put it under contract. What you're going to be now doing is you're going to be marketing the contract or, you know, to sell to an end buyer, or you should have already had a buyer's database built. Well, what Peter and I learned years ago was that we could help people that are brand new into this business, right? By utilizing an actual realtor to list the property, to procure an end buyer before we ever close on the deal. Okay? So Put property under contract, which, by the way, I teach you this, but inside of Partner Driven. But our contract allows us to right to pre-market the property through any broker's choosing, included but not limited to the multiple listing services. Okay? So then they market the property, they list the property, and essentially at closing, instead, because normally if you would have found an end buyer, you would have done what is called an assignment, meaning you would assign the contract to the end buyer. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to actually buy it. Okay? Then turn around and sell it same day or within a couple of days to an end buyer. Okay? Which is called a double close. Now, I've already saw this in the chat, and someone's like, well, the 6% comes out, of the profit. Absolutely it does. But let me tell you something else. You make more money on the MLS, because think of it this way. Let's say you had a fixer-upper or maybe even a rental house that you got under contract, okay? Let's say you got a dentist, and he's a dentist, and he, works all day, runs his practice, but he wants to buy a rental house. Where do you think the dentist is going to go to buy a rental house? Put it in the chat. Where do you think a dentist would go to buy a rental house? The MLS, of course. He's going to hire a buyer's agent to help him find a deal. Okay? So by utilizing the MLS, number one, MLS aggregates to websites, okay? Most MLSs and brokerages go to 86,000 plus websites as soon as it goes live. Can any of you guys post to 86,000 plus websites in a day? No, there's no way. There's no way. So by utilizing a real estate agent or a realtor, because I know there's both, right? You're able to sell it at a higher price, get it in front of buyers, okay, that you never would have got it in front of ever before. You are getting it in front of buyers that may not even live here, okay? See, like for instance, let's say I've got a great deal here in Georgia, okay? And let's just say Dawsonville, Georgia, for instance, okay? And and I want you to put this in the chat. Who do you think is going to pay more for the property here in Dawsonville that's a rental house? It's a great deal. Do you think it's going to be somebody from Dawsonville? Or let's say, do you think somebody from, let's say, Sacramento, California? Who do you think is going to pay more for that house in Dawsonville? Guys, y'all are so smart. You're right. The person that's out of state, because to them, that's a killer deal. It may not be a deal that they could get at home, okay? But how would that person ever know about that deal if it wasn't for the MLS? Now, you're probably thinking, well, Julie, I could do that on my own. Yeah, you sure can do it on your own. You can get under contract. You can make sure you utilize the right contract, though, please. You're going to get under contract. You're going to get all the way to closing. You better make sure your buyer, he's going to close. You're going to use cash to actually buy it, because you're not going to assign a deal this way. Okay, and then you're going to make the profit margin, right? Simple enough. Let me tell you the problem in that. Who in the world's got that kind of cash? Right? Well, this is not gloating by any means, guys, because it's just from, Peter has done thousands of deals. It took years to set this up. We do. We will help you find the deals. We will help you execute it. We will be there for the money part of it. What we want is we want to do deals with you. And you know what? Worst case scenario on our end, you do some great deals, you learn the business, and you leave us. That's great. And that's not great. I didn't mean that. That could happen, and that's okay. We met a great friend. You understand the business, okay? But what I encourage you to do is don't waste your time anymore in life doing things that don't make you money. Stop trying, start acting. My question is, are you ready to act today or not? Are you ready to change your life in maybe this business? Maybe this business isn't right for you. Hey, that's okay. For my whole life, I thought I wanted to run a restaurant. I realized I don't want to ever do that, right? It may not be for you, but I promise you that's what we're here for. And if that's something you're interested in, I know we sure would love the opportunity to work with you guys. I'm as, we're as real as we are here tonight. So I hope everybody gets that concept. We went over quite a bit this evening. And I don't mind asking some questions, but I know Peter wanted to give out a special number because like I said, you're either wasting time doing things that ain't making you no money or you're taking action. Which one's it going to be? So if you want to know more about this, and by the way, guys, what we're talking about tonight is less than a down payment for a house. Okay?
Way less.
Way, way, way less. What, I mean, Peter, how could somebody, and guys, for those of you that are partners, get out there and let's get some houses under contract. We already got almost 20 about ready to close in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's so true, guys. So our goal today was very simple. We wanted to explain, first of all, we wanted to explain the wholesaling concept. For those of you that may not even understand it or kind of feel comfortable with it, we wanted to explain it, and we wanted to compare our model as opposed to kind of the conventional way of doing things, okay? And remember, the audience was twofold. Some of y'all are partners, and some of you are partners hopefully heard things today that you're like, didn't get it. Now you get it. And for those of you that are not partners, you just got to make a decision. Like Julie said, if you're going to go forward with this business, do you rather do it the conventional way, or do you rather do it the partner-driven way? The partner-driven way. So you need a couple things to successfully execute successful wholesale deals. Number one, you got to know what you're doing. This is not a business where you want to learn as you go. Even in an unforgiving model like wholesaling, guess what? There are still pitfalls and traps along the way. Okay. So you got to learn how to do this thing, and you got to learn it. You got to learn it literally as you go to a certain degree. So the conventional way is this: you do it yourself. If you do it yourself, you better have time and you better have money. Okay. And like I said, I lost $500,000. And so you better have time, you better have money if you want to learn it yourself. If you want to learn it the conventional way through the guru route, you also better have time, maybe not as much time because you will get some good information, and maybe not as much money, but you better have some bucks. I mean, to tune, if you want to learn it the right way, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, okay? Or you could learn it the partner-driven way, where it's literally unlimited amount of interaction with people like myself, with Julie, and our team that's been together forever and ever. The second thing you need to do is you got to know how to market. You got to know how to find the right deal, right? You could do the conventional way, the realtor way, call another wholesaler way. Telling you those days are long gone, and there will be nothing but frustration and huge disappointment if you go that way. Or you could find the deals utilizing the latest and the greatest technology, deal driven, which we have. And you got to find the right strategy, meaning going directly to owner, which is the only thing we teach our partners. The next thing you got to do when you finally find that property, you got to be able to move it to another investor. You could do it the conventional way. You could go out there and beat your head against the wall and develop your own internal investor databases, right? Or you could do it the partner-driven way with a click of a button, literally get it exposed to the largest buyers list in the world. So those are really the only choices. Those are the choices. Again, if you're a partner listening to us tonight, let's get it. Let's get it going. Reset, recharge, recommit. Let's take it to the next level. If you're not yet a partner, you got to make a decision. What do you want to do? For those of you that need a little bit more information, just go to www.partnerdriven.com. But there's some of you that aren't here tonight that you're ready. I mean, it's like, okay, I get it. I got it. I'm all in. I'm ready to rock and roll. Okay. So for those of you, we have one team member that stayed extra tonight. And she's available to get you started. Okay. Now, don't call her with a bunch of questions. Don't call her to ask her, well, how does this work? Okay. That's not what this is designed for. This is designed for people that are like, I'm ready. I'm ready to invest into myself. I'm ready to change my life. And so for those of you that are ready, and there'll be a phone number that appears on your chat, but you could call Christine tonight directly at 770-369-4395. That's 770-369-4395. And she'll get you started tonight. And as early as tomorrow, we could be on our way to doing your first deal. So guys, partner driven. It's just the way we do real estate. I mean, it's really, it's not like something we just go out there and teach. It's what we do ourselves. Okay. So we're proud of it. We're excited about it. We're very glad that some of you who are partners that have been joining us here tonight. Some of you that are not yet our partners, we hope that you will become our partners. So from my end, guys, I enjoyed it as always. I'm glad, Julie, you were able to join me today. We kind of started splitting these up. We don't do as many of them together as we used to, but I'm glad we did it tonight. So my parting comments, for those of your partners, make a decision, take it to the next level. Those of you that are not partners, make a decision. Anything else from your end, Julie?
No, but we have so many people on, and I don't mind to stay on, Peter. I thought maybe I could answer some questions.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that is great. If anyone has any questions about what we talked about, what it means to be a partner, maybe something about wholesaling, this is your time. I mean, you got Julie and I here tonight, and so fire away, and we'll stay on here for a little bit longer, and we will get your questions answered. I see a question. Can a wholesale deal be wholesaled from another state? Has that been successful? It's exactly what Julie was talking about earlier today, right? Literally, it could all be done, right? From the finding it could be done utilizing our technology, where literally you have access to the whole United States for equities that we've been talking about, for mortgage information, for sellers' contact info, and utilizing our techniques and strategies. You can even have an out-of-state buyer because we have access to the biggest list. So to answer your question, the partner-driven way, absolutely, it could be done across state lines.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. As a student, can we learn tax liens too? Thank you so much. You guys rock. Well, thank you, Tina. You rock too. We don't focus on tax liens, okay? However, I do talk to people about different type of strategies, such as owner finance, subject to. Some of my favorite deals outside of wholesaling are, different types of deals. When doing tax liens, Tina, you really need to understand what the laws are in your particular state, because every state is different. So if you were to buy a property from a tax lien sale, there's a redemption period. Learn that first, because not until that redemption period is over is it necessarily yours. We do not teach buying tax liens. I want to be very, very clear about that, but definitely, can, help you with something like that.
Here's a question. What about doing the property walkthroughs? Do I utilize Skype? Do I utilize Zoom, or FaceTime would work? There's actually different ways of getting access to properties, right? You could utilize the local real estate agents, which we actually utilize whether you're out of state or not. And yes, you could have a seller literally just walk through the property and show you around. That's another great thing about what we talked about today. On the wholesale side, you don't have to be perfect, okay? You don't have to have that exact repair number to the dollar. You could actually ballpark it based upon what something looks like through, like I said, FaceTime, through Skype, through Zoom, and based upon that, make a decision to move forward or back away. So yeah, very smart, very smart.
Let me see. Direct to sellers, the best way to go. I saw something, a couple more. Give me just a second, guys.
Here's one while you're looking for yours. What's the best way to get a deal under contract in another city or state? The process actually you would go through would be very similar than if it was in your state, right? Number one, you got to find the deal. What do you do to do that? You utilize our technology, deal driven, right? You could do driving for dollars. Deal driven will actually initiate direct mail campaigns. You could text sellers. You can get access to their phone numbers through deal driven and call them directly. So yeah, utilizing deal driven, you would go through the exact same steps virtually as you would had that property been right next door to you. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mark Peters, what's up, Mark? Mark wants to know how do you contact the owner? Well, number one, you could skip trace them to find them, meaning what I'm doing is looking for their phone number so that I could call them. You could also send them a letter, a piece of direct mail. You could knock on the door, stick a note on the door. I mean, all these things are the ways that we show you how to find the seller, but by far, my favorite, Mark, is to literally call folks. Also, I do share all of my scripts in contacting sellers because that's a whole other webinar on its own, right? But, but definitely, I mean, skip tracing to find the owners. And Mark, you're a new partner. Join my Thursday training call, Mark, or go look at some training videos about how to skip trace, and then that'll be helpful. Oh, and by the way, as a partner, we give you 1,000 skip traces a month. What? On top of it.
Here's a question. Does this work anywhere in the United States? The simple answer to that is yes. Absolutely. This works anywhere across the United States. We had a question. Hey, if I'm not a partner, but I find what I think to be a good deal, will you partner with me? No, because we have to have some, we, like any other company, we have limited resources. We have limited infrastructure. And so we save all of our resources. We save all of our infrastructure. We save all of our brain power and matter and all the time we do specifically for our partners. It's a family, right? And you're going to put your family to the forefront. So you got to be a partner to be able to do that.
So Urbano, California has very high home prices. What price range is ideal to sell them fast and be profitable? Well, really, and by the way, we probably do 10, 15 deals a month in California. Okay. So it's not necessarily about the actual home price and knowing what your areas are. Okay. Like a blue collar or a middle class area in San Francisco, maybe 800 to 1.1 million, right? It's what price are you getting them under contract for? What discount are you getting them under contract for? So it really just depends what area of California. It's knowing your numbers, knowing your area. Not that California is not a great state to do business. California is a great state to do business. Oh, and by the way, while I'm on that topic, man, for any of you in California, with all the wildfires going on right now, truly at the bottom of my heart, I really hope the best for you and your family and anybody that's around you. I really hate to see that going on. Let's see. Sorry to get on that topic. I was just watching the news earlier and thought about it.
Julie, a question that's come up multiple times that I'd like to address directly. By the way, for those of you that are ready to get started, like tonight, not just get a bunch of questions, because if after listening to Julie and I, you're still like, do I need this? Then please don't tie up Christine's time. But if you're ready to get started tonight, genuinely ready, her number is 770-369-4395. A question that has come up repeatedly is like, do I have to put something up? Yeah, you do. I mean, this is real estate investing. I don't know, people that get into real estate and you're like, I'm not putting anything up. I'm going to tell you right now, you're in the wrong business. I mean, you're just in the wrong business. It's like saying I'm going to start a logistics trucking company, but I'm not going to use a truck. I'm just going to use a bicycle. Well, it ain't work. Real estate investing is one of those things where, but remember, with us, you're getting unlimited coaching and mentoring. You're getting lead generation. You're getting all the technology you need to find deals. You're getting capital to do the deals, and you're getting construction. So if you're not willing to put up at least a couple $1,000s towards that, to get started, you're not a good partner for us. That means you're not really serious about this thing. It means you're looking for a freebie, you're looking for a scheme. It's not our style. So when you call Christine, make sure you have that available tonight to get started with.
Christopher wants to know, is the bread and butter house or a luxury home? I mean, for me, it's just my style. Luxury homes is not really what I go after. I mean, obviously you can make money in both markets. I'd rather do more deals, and I think the bread and butter is in, regular everyday, people homes, which by the way, it's the type of home I live in. So that's kind of my answer to that. Ike wants to know, by the time you have 2 sets of closing costs and you pay the realtor, is there really any skin left on the bone? Absolutely, Ike. When you know how to instruct your realtor to have the buyers pay your closing cost, there's actually, I have found, and I won't say this 100% of the time, but most of the time, we make more money when a realtor closes the deal because we have buyers list ourselves, right? Wouldn't you agree, Peter?
Yeah, no question. I mean, that's all built in. Utilizing MLS increases the profit margins. I mean, we got a deal we're closing, I think, next week on a wholesale site. We're making 100,000. So that's something, again, we work through and teach and show our investors our partners how to maximize that. A funny question for Christopher. As far as investment amount, is the down payment on the bread and butter house or a luxury home? Neither. It's smaller than that. It's smaller than a bread and butter house, and it's way smaller than a luxury home. Way smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, I'm not seeing any more new questions come in. Regardless, guys, obviously, I would love for you to be a part of our partner-driven family, change lives, and really, be there with all of us. But either way, I wish you the utmost success and joy in your life. And I'm glad that you took the time to be here tonight. And if you need us, let us know.
Guys, we enjoyed it. So on behalf of Julie, myself, Rafa, and the rest of the partner-driven family, we loved it. We enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys same time, same place next week. See you guys.